والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد بن عبد الله الصادق الأمين. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. طبعا المكالمة مع الأخ فرقان بيكون باللغة الإنجليزية. هل في أحد محتاج الترجمة باللغة العربية؟ بس إن شاء الله بيكون إن شاء الله واحد بالخلف بيترجم للجميع. Let's get started. On behalf of the Yemeni American Chamber of Commerce, I'm here with Brother Furqan Ahmed, representative of Guidance Residential, who is going to teach us a potential opportunity on Islamic financing. The Yemeni American Chamber of Commerce is an organization that provides economic services to the Metro Detroit community, and this is one of the programs that we tend to offer to help the surrounding area from all religions and cultures in being able to take advantage of the economic services that we have to offer. So without further ado, I'd like to have introduce Furqan Ahmed from Guidance Residential.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you? Okay, good. Today I am here to talk about something very important, and that is about the concept of riba. And I go to different communities, and something that I have discovered is that the lack of understanding about the concept of riba, especially when taking financing from banks. So this is rampant not only in the elders but also the youth and across the different sections of the community. Riba is really a big deal. You know, in the Quran, Allah Ta'ala says in Surah Baqarah, ayah 275, that we all know about, that it is haram to take riba or pay riba. And so guidance is a solution, for that problem. So people can now buy homes with halal home financing because guidance is there now. You don't have to go to the bank and get a loan with interest. You can come to guidance and we can do a musharaka contract, a co-ownership contract with you. And you can be together by the house, and then you buy back the house from us. And so we are going to go over the details now, over the next few slides. Can everybody look at the slides? There? All right. Alright, so Capital Guidance is the parent company of Guidance Residential, where I am coming from. It has got 4 companies below it: Guidance Residential, International Housing Finance, Guidance Investments, Guidance Realty Homes. So Guidance Residential here is licensed in about 26 states in the US, and we are providing co-ownership home financing to the consumers. It's now a $4 billion company. Alhamdulillah, we have closed over $4 billion worth of home finance contracts in the US. And all right. So this slide is about our global footprint. So we are in about 27 countries, and we have 77 offices all over the world. Guidance Residential is only in the US, so that's the difference. Capital Guidance is the parent company which has all these global firms in different countries, but Guidance Residential, the home finance contract company, is here in the US. Right. This slide talks about the coverage that Guidance has received over the last so many years. We have been in business since 2002. The concept was designed and researched starting in 1998, and a few $1 million were spent on researching on the best home finance model that would comply with the US regulations. So we have Freddie Mac as our partner, as the investor, and we have about 18 law firms that we hire to design the program. We have the world's best Sharia scholars who have also worked with us and provided the fatwa on the Sharia compliance of the program. So we were covered by CNN, Al Jazeera, AP, Houston Chronicle, Detroit Free Press. So all of them, especially in the 2008 when there was a crash in the market, guidance was not that much affected. And these news organizations came and interviewed us and had a piece on their news show about guidance. And you can find it on YouTube, inshallah. The guidance difference. What's the guidance difference? What's the difference between guidance and bank, right? So first of all, it's not a loan. We don't provide a loan, and hence we don't charge interest. Instead, we do a co-ownership financing with you. So together we buy the house, and then you buy back the house from us, and we charge a utilization fee or usage fee because you are living in the house and you are using the property. So you pay a fee for that to us. The other thing is that it's Sharia compliant. Compared to a bank, of course, we all know the bank loan is a haram contract. So we are approved by AMJA, the American Muslim Jurist Association in the US, and by the internationally renowned Sharia scholars. Pure Play is basically everything we do Sharia compliant. So you will have the peace of mind when you go with guidance. You will have Sharia compliant roof over your head, basically. These are the Sharia scholars, and Justice Taqi Usmani, you all must be familiar with. He's literally the leader in Islamic finance and banking the world over. Most major Islamic banks would like to have him on the Sharia board. He's the chairman of our Sharia board. Then we have got Sheikh Yusuf Pilar de Lorenzo from US, Sheikh Nizam Yaqubi from Bahrain, Sheikh Al-Ghari from Saudi Arabia, Sheikh Abu Ghudda from Syria, and Imran Usmani from Pakistan, and Daud Bakr from Malaysia. These are the world-renowned authorities on Sharia finance, the world over. And they, alhamdulillah, we have them on our Sharia board. They review everything that we do and our documentation and everything to make it show it's Sharia compliant. What is riba basically? What is interest? Riba is profit made from a loan. I give you money, and if I charge more money on that money, that's interest. That's what the bank does. Money itself has no intrinsic value. The paper, it's a paper, right? But it's a medium of exchange. So it cannot be traded. You cannot give money and take more money on money. So that is what is forbidden in the Quran. Okay. Now, if we go to the other religions, we can see that riba is also prohibited in the Bible. In the book of Deuteronomy, it is prohibited. So in other religions also, it is prohibited. So, for example, in the Quran, first of all, we know this ayah, those who take unlawful interest will stand before God on the day of judgment as those whose minds have been corrupted by the influence of Satan. They say that commerce is just like interest, but God has made commerce lawful and forbidden interest. So even today, like 1400 years ago, people came back to the Muslims and they said, what's the difference between trade and interest? So my question would be, what's the difference between a cow and a pig, right? Both are animals, both have 2 eyes, both have 4 legs, and why is one forbidden and one is not? It is because Allah said so, right? So Allah said that pig is forbidden, cow is okay. Okay then. Same way, trade is okay, Allah said, and riba is haram. So that's why riba is haram. So it's simple as that. So if we take a look at the Bible, there is a verse in Exodus and Leviticus that if you lend money to one of my people among you who is needy, do not be like a money lender, charge him no interest. So we find that other religious traditions also have a similar commandment there. Even the founding fathers of the US, we see that they are against riba. They are saying that this is a very dangerous thing. Don't deal with interest because it will lead you to slavery. For example, John Adams said, there are two ways to conquer and enslave a country. One is by sword and the other is by debt. I believe that banking institutions are more dangerous to our liberties than standing armies. The modern theory of the perpetuation of debt has drenched the earth with blood and crushed its inhabitants under burdens ever accumulating. Rather go to bed supperless than rise in debt. So all the these three founding fathers have also stated their opinion about against riba. So what is permissible? So loan without profit, that's a charitable giving is okay. A qard hasan is okay. You give a loan without interest, or you trade, or you buy and sell. So those are the three permissible ways of exchange. In the Islamic finance world, there are about 100 financing contracts that we can use, but the most majorly used ones are murabaha, ijara, and musharaka. So the one that we are using is a musharaka contract. It's called musharakatul mutanaqisa. It's with a sharakatul milk concept, and we'll go over that now. So musharaka has two ways of, there are two contracts under musharaka. One is shirakatul milk and shirakatul aqd. So when you have an asset ownership, when you are buying something, then you can have a shirakatul milk. That's you are sharing it's a co-ownership of the asset. And one is a financing partner, the other is a user of the product. So the one who's buying the product can purchase back the asset from the financier partner and give some profit for that purchase to the other partner. So that's the concept we are using. Now how does it work? Basically, the home buyer and guidance agree to be the co-owners in the property. The two parties buy the home together, and the house buyer makes monthly payments to guidance on a monthly basis, so it's buying back, the buyer is buying back the house from us piece by piece in monthly payments, and over the course of the arrangement the payments will be completed, and eventually the buyer will have the house ownership eventually. In the case of the bank, you see the one below here is comparing guidance with the bank. The bank, basically the buyer applies for the loan, gets the loan from the bank, and then purchases the house, and then pays back the debt on that loan that he owes to the bank with interest, with a riba on it, until he pays off the whole loan. The bank has nothing to do with the house. In our case, we are partners with you in the house. We are co-owners. In the case of the bank, it's just a loan money for money. So how does it work? Home buyer and guidance purchase the property. By the way, this slide is redundant because we already spoke about that. Now here, let me show you the payment schedule. So for example, the house here is $100,000. All right. So that's the beginning balance of the financing. The scheduled payment is $696. You see the $696.61 remains the same all across. So the monthly payment is fixed. But if you look at the acquisition and the profit payment, they are changing. So as you buy more and more of the house, as you are purchasing more and more shares of the house from us every month, our ownership is declining. That's why it's called declining balance co-ownership. And hence the usage fee, you can think of it like a rent. So the rent is going down because our ownership is declining in your house. So our piece is shrinking, so the rent is also shrinking every month. Okay. A lot of people ask, like, what are the major differences? We'll take the question and answers afterwards. I'm just about to finish now. So a lot of people ask, like, how is guidance different from a bank, right? So first of all, the Sharia board in America, American Muslim Jurist Association, they have also approved us. They have looked at the documents. There was a conference in 2014 actually, and then they came and it was publicly discussed. You can find it on the YouTube. And after that, they gave a judgment that guidance is the best program. There are other Islamic providers also, but guidance is the best program available in the US for the US Muslim population. One of the major things that we have in our contract is a non-recourse clause. Now, non-recourse clause, it means that, God forbid, if foreclosure happens, so in that case, we will not go and sell the consumers other assets and to get back the loan, because we did not give you a loan to start with. It's a co-ownership, so we are restricted to the house. So if the value of the house went down, we'll take a loss in the house, in the deal. So we will take a loss and we will not after you to collect the other money. So that's a non-recourse clause. It's there in the contract. Also, you will find in the contract there is no IOU, there is no promissory note. So there's no loan being given. You will see in the documents when you see it. And there's no prepayment penalty. So anytime you want to buy back the house, you can come back to us and pay more payments. There will be no prepayment penalty. You can buy the house next month, whenever you want. You're free to do that without any penalty. So those are the three distinct features which will show you that's a halal contract and different from the bank. Okay. Again, the risk is shared in the deal, and the late payment fee is capped. So there's no compounding of the late fee like in the case of some banks they would do it. There's no compounding of the rates of the profit rate that we use to calculate the usage fee. It's a $50 flat. Like if somebody doesn't make a payment, $50 charge for the late payment. It's a deterrent, so that to make sure the customer does not delay the payments. And that's about it. Now, if you have any questions, we can take the questions. Otherwise, there's another presentation about first-time home buyers. So if people are renting their whole life, they are wasting their money, throwing their money away, they could come and buy with us and own their own home. That's how the community becomes stronger. You own your own land, you own your own properties. That's how you'll become strong. So if in your circle there are people who are just renting because riba is haram, tell them there's a program now. The awareness has to be created about this kind of programs in America. All right, thank you.
So before we go on to the next presentation, we're going to take questions and have Brother Furqan answer. So does anybody have any questions?
Can you go back to the sample schedule?
Okay.
So you have a scheduled payment and then acquisition. So what
Right.
So can you explain that?
Okay. Let me go back to that slide.
So you're making 2 monthly payments?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
So there's a scheduled payment and an acquisition. So like, do you pay them both or?
Okay.
What do you
Okay.
exactly?
So the question is, there's this scheduled payment and acquisition payment, and what's the difference between the two?
Okay. So basically the total monthly payment remains the same. So when you come in and apply for financing, we'll tell you this is going to be your monthly payment. For example, in this case, 696.61. That will remain the same. It's fixed for the rest of the term. It could be 15 years, 15 years, 30 years, or 20 years, as you decide, and as per the contract. So if you see the acquisition payment, in the beginning it is 436, and in the end, if you see the 80th one is 692. So it's increased, right? And the profit payment, you can think of profit payment as the rent. It's the usage fee because you are using the house, so you are making a utilization fee payment, right? So 260 goes down to all the way to $1 in the end, 1.81. So why is that? Because our ownership started with 80%, and now it has declined to only 1% or 10% at the end, whatever.
So you pay 696. 436 goes towards the house, and then 260 goes to you guys.
Right. So 260 is basically our profit. That is a rent or a usage fee for you living in the house. We are not living in it. So you are paying us for that. 436 is increasing your ownership in the house in the beginning. And then it goes up because you are a bigger owner, so that part increases. And you buy back the house more quickly towards the end.
عايزين واحد يشرح لنا ايه الجدول ده وايه نظام الدفع وايه نظام اخذ القرض.
نعم. حد من الاخوان يقبل الترجمه؟ لا. لا لا بدنا نشوف البرنامج نفسه. خلي واحد يترجم لنا معنا. بننفذ.
الجدول ده بشكل كام الواحد يقدر ياخد قرار عشان نظام الأسئلة وايه الدفعات اللي ممكن يدفعها وايه القنوات اللي ممكن
He's asking about what's the requirements called by it.
From this chart, can you explain how different is this process from conventional mortgage?
Okay. All right. So the question is, how is this different from a conventional mortgage? All right. Okay. So going back to the establishment of the program, as I said, we have Freddie Mac as the investor partner with us. Of course, we are at 4 billion point now. We have financed $4 billion over the last 15 years. We couldn't do it. It's a Muslim-owned company. Our chairman is Dr. Mohammed Hamour. His family owns the business, in the beginning I told you. So the maths is the same, basically. We put it, when we brought the Musharka contract to the Freddie Mac first, they couldn't recognize what is this. So 18 law firms were hired, and the Sharia scholars worked with Freddie Mac senior management and lawyers. And they designed a program where they took the US mortgage contract and basically started to make it Sharia compliant. So now it is about 60 pages thick. A bank loan is like a few pages, right? So why is that? Because there are so many terms and conditions that go to make it Sharia compliant. So they took out all the impurities of the interest-based loan from that product and made it into a Sharia contract. But why is the maths the same? Because the consumer would not like to pay more for just getting a halal product. Like in the case of halal meat, usually it is more expensive. So what we try to do is to make it equal to the market. So we benchmark our profit rates with the mortgage rates in the market to calculate the rent or the usage fee. And so the maths you'll see here is the same. And also Freddie Mac investor wants to make the same kind of return on their product with us like any other bank, so we have to make it compliant to that. Also the consumer like yourself, you wouldn't like to pay more than any other bank, so again, this helps. So that's why we use this math.
But since in the beginning the profit is quite high and then it is going down, so wouldn't it be the same like paying mortgages and paying interest first and then it keeps on increasing?
Okay, as I answered the question here, so if you see our ownership in the house is also more in the beginning. So we are like 80% owner or sometimes 95% owner if person is making 5% down. So the co-ownership schedule is set up like 5% and 95% or 20% and 80%. So we are the majority owners. So for example, if the house has 100 bricks, 80 bricks are owned by us, 20 by you. So 80 bricks rent is more, of course, in the beginning. But as you buy back more bricks, the rent goes down accordingly. It's not dollar for dollar or point for point, but it's somewhat,
So we're looking at a 3.125% profit rate over here. Is that profit rate changed throughout the deal, or is it set at the beginning and this is what you pay all the way?
All right. So when you take the application, the question is basically the profit rate. If you see on the top line here, it says 3.125 profit rate. So this is the rate that we use to calculate all these payments. Okay. So and the payment, as you asked, the question was why is it changing or not? It will not change. Once we lock it for the term. So your monthly payment will remain the same, your rate will remain the same. Of course, there is no compounding of the rate, like in the case of bank, they can compound the rate of interest sometimes. We don't do that.
Excuse me. Are you dealing with other banks?
Okay.
The Islamic bank. Are you dealing with other banks?
Okay. All right. The question is that are we dealing with other banks? Okay. We are not dealing with other banks. For the co-ownership program, what we do is we fund the contract from our own money. So the owners of Guidance, they fund it, whatever, like $400,000, $300,000, whatever financing is. They do it from their own money. And then they make it into a quality paper, investment paper, and they take it to Freddie Mac. Freddie Mac purchases that contract, and under the same Sharia compliant terms and conditions. So it remains a co-ownership contract, and it is purchased by the investor, Freddie Mac, which eventually, in some cases, they pool together all these Islamic mortgages, and then they go to the Middle East and sell it as a sukuk to the Islamic banks over there. So that's how the process works. But we don't deal with other banks for the purpose of financing. Financing is by our own funds. Yeah.
But you see the world, it's a combination of financial process. So how you deal with this? Because you are, I think you will not be separate from other banking, because the World Bank should be go through this banking and then until you receive it to your bank.
Okay. Okay. The funding, as I said, is done by Freddie Mac. Freddie Mac is not a bank. It's majorly owned by the government, an organization which funds mortgages in the US, right? So it's government funded, and so it's not a depository institution like any other bank. So Freddie Mac is the investor with us, and the contract remains Sharia compliant because that's what you signed with us. They take as is and they purchase it. It remains, all the terms and conditions remain the same. It does not change. It does not become a loan, if that's your question. So it doesn't become haram, in the process. It remains Sharia compliant.
Is there any other question?
Now the real estate market, sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, right? So the mortgage or interest rate keeps on increasing and decreasing.
Yes.
So why people would come to you if your interest rate, the profit rate is like 3.125 and people are able to find something lower than that,
Okay.
right?
All right.
Wouldn't they question you that if it is down, so your rate should go down as well?
That's right. So the question is that, for example, here 3.125 is, by the way, this is just for an example used here. So the question is, if the market is going up and down in terms of interest rates, why would they come to guidance if our profit rate is high? So the answer is basically we benchmark ourselves to the market. So if, for example, during last year there was Brexit event that happened and the market went down. So we also reduced our profit rates. For example, if it went down from 4.5 to 3.5, we also went down from 4.5 to 3.5. So our rates are really not the highest in the market. They are in the middle somewhere. They are not the lowest also. So we cannot claim anything like that. So we are in the middle to calculate the usage fee that we have in the coalition.
One more question. So different people, they have different credit ratings, right? And so is there any difference, like for people who have less credit rating or higher credit rating, would they get any benefit? Or do you guys help all people with the bad or good credit ratings as well?
Okay. So the question is that what about the people with bad credit? Will they still be held by guidance or not? So the answer is, of course, it's a business. It's a for-profit business. It's not a charitable organization. So the investor is looking for returns, and they are looking for, and especially in Islamic finance, you do have to check out your business partner. So what the credit score does is it tells you how the consumer has been behaving with their credit. So have they been making payment on time or they are late? So yeah, we do look at the credit score, and the minimum score we want to have the consumer to have is 620. 620 or better.
Would it affect the profit rate as well?
Okay, yes. So the profit rate, if your credit score is like 800, of course you'll get a better profit rate compared to somebody with 620. Okay, sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Question.
in those days, I understand you cannot send any money anywhere in the whole world. It's got to go through the United States government. How are you guys dealing with that?
All right. So the question is that every dollar and cent has to go through the banking system now. Even I used to be in Dubai, in Malaysia, and Brunei. I was there with some Islamic banks. So there was a lot of paperwork. If somebody is a US citizen or green card holder, we had to get some extra, it's called FATCA paperwork has to be done. So of course, so if somebody is going to purchase the house, they should have that money sitting in their bank for the last so many months. So we do ask for a bank statement. So it cannot be cash under the mattress or just cash bringing to the table or just making a large deposit just before the purchase. You cannot do that. It has to be your money sitting in the bank for last 30 days or more, and then we can account for it as your down payment and closing cost.
What is?
Yes.
How much down do you recommend?
Okay. For the down, the question is how much down payment do we require? So minimum down payment can be 3%. There's something for first-time home buyers. We call it HP, Home Possible Mortgage, Home Possible Advantage Mortgage as well. So that the Advantage product has a 3% down payment possibility. But of course, the credit score should be so much, 680 or more, and there are other requirements that we can discuss offline. So yes, we do have that program. Good question, thank you. Yeah, next question.
That was the question.
Okay. Okay, I want to add something more to the previous answer. So credit score is one criteria. The other thing that we look at is the down payment, of course, and the history of the payments that the customer has been making. So of course all of those things are evaluated, and the profit rate can vary accordingly. But it's not a big range of variation, it's minor. And another criteria that we look at is your income. So income to expense ratio should be 50% or less. In some cases, 42% or less, depending on the program and according to credit criteria.
I got a question. The Musharaka deal, how does that affect your credit? Does that add to your credit as well?
Okay. So as I said, Musharaka co-ownership is a contract which makes it Sharia compliant, but still it's a business. So the business terms, for example, looking at the credit score, looking at the down payment, looking at the income to expense ratio, that goes in with the business. So we do take a look at all of that, and as you make payments, your question was if you are making payments in the co-ownership program, will it show up on your credit?
Will it contribute to your credit? Yes.
Contribute to your credit? Yes, it will. So you are building your credit as you are making timely payments on the co-ownership contract.
So guidance will show up in somebody's credit. This is a loan, not a loan.
Right.
This is an outstanding balance.
Right.
And through the years, it goes down.
Yes, it will show. And when somebody comes in to apply for financing, also we will check your credit. First of all, we do a pre-approval, and for that we take a soft pull of the score, so your credit is not affected. Once you take the full application, then of course the prime margin has to happen, and we pull 3 credits. So that's just an addition to that.
Now, is the rate fixed? Like
Yes.
Whatever it is, it's fixed for the 180 months?
So the question is the rate fixed? Yes, the rate is fixed for the co-ownership program. Yes, we lock it in, we call the customer, we give them all the choices, and there's some fees, some points, and bring down your rate, or we give you cashback if you take a higher profit rate. So all of those things, just like we do provide. Okay, can you repeat your question?
Over a period of 3 years with guidance, making payments on time, can they go back and readjust the rate? Like if you want to refinance it, to adjust the rate to a better margin for the customers, as they have better credit now.
Right. So the question is that after the customer has been with guidance for some time, can they come back to us and change the rate if their credit has improved or something has changed in their history? Yes, and the answer is yes. People come to us for refinancing. It's called replacement refinance. Either you were with some other bank, or even if you were with guidance before. Most of the time people want to change it from 30 years to 15 years because now the remaining balance is less. So they get a lower monthly payment because of that, and if the rates have decreased compared to when they financed before, so they again want to reduce their rate. So there are different motivations because of which come back to us, and we do replacement refinance. Yes.
So, in talking with a lot of my friends, they always bring up the point that, you know, everything that, you know, they'd say all the Islamic like banking thing, it's actually all the same as the interest and all that. What you've explained here is pretty logical. So, what do they like? What are they talking about? Because that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Okay.
Like, what is the thing that's driving people away, and is that addressed or not?
Okay. Okay. The question is, what we have explained here is quite logical to understand how it is different from the bank, but most of the people are still going with the banks and not with guidance. Why is that? The answer to that question is the lack of information. Like, we are only so many people on the ground going and doing events like this, and even today you see the audience is quite low in numbers. So a lot of people don't have the correct, first of all, the concept of riba. First of all, they say the bank is okay, you know, there's not much difference between guidance and the bank, they are all the same. Because they don't understand the difference of the co-ownership program. This is same thing as a difference between a pig and a cow, right? So, because Allah said one is halal, one is haram, that's why co-ownership is halal and riba loan is haram. So that's simple to understand. But people don't really think about it, and they just go with the bank. So it's all about lack of awareness. That's why they're going.
Specifically for the Islamic ones too, they tell me those aren't any good. So
right. Okay.
What is their logic?
Okay. Again, I don't know. Again, about Islamic people, the question is about Islamic. A lot of people are saying it's the same thing, So again, there are so many factors. There might be one little thing they will pick on. For example, we have contracted our customer service to US Bank. Now, the brother was asking, are you dealing with the bank? So people will think, oh, they are having an association with the bank, US Bank, so it must be riba. But it is not. Now, the answer to that question is that we do outsource our customer service to US Bank. So they are sending you the bill. So there will be US Bank written /guidance LLC on it. So that doesn't make it haram, because the contract that you sign still is co-ownership, nothing changed. And they are just like Citibank has a customer service rep from India. They call you in an Indian accent, and then you say they are calling from Citibank, but they are not Citibank actually. They are outsourced over to India for their customer service or something. Same way, we are outsourced, because initially we had some customer service issues with some other service providers, so we changed it to US Bank. It's a high quality service provider, and now we have less complaints.
I just want to elaborate on that because I can relate with some of your concerns. I myself also have friends that kind of critique and try to justify why not to pursue Islamic bank. But yet again, what are our options, right? Do we go with a non-Islamic bank? I'm the first advocate to question such an institution that justifies that as Islamic. Spending time with Brother Furqan, he helped me understand, as you mentioned, there's some logic behind it, but yet again, there's also national federal laws that the Islamic bank would have to follow, any institution would have to follow. So it's not, I don't want to speak on behalf of guidance, but yet again, I believe that there are regulations that limit them to pursue or clarify what we as a population perceive as being Islamically owned. So I would still, after this, recommend everyone to still do the research. Brother Furqan is at our disposal to answer any questions. He had brought some brochures and pamphlets, and you saw the fatwa on that website. Feel free to reach out and get more information.
The question is, what if the customer wants to invest in a property or in real estate? The answer is yes, we do have that program as well. For example, you can have one primary residence, you can have one second home, which should be like a vacation home 50 miles or more from your house, from your primary. And you can have 2 investment properties also. So you can partner with a friend or a partner and then buy the house together, and or yourself, if you qualify for that, and then rental income is coming in and paying for that mortgage. So in total, you can have up to 4 properties with guidance.
Are there more qualifications for that, or is it the same?
Okay. Of course, the credit score should be at least 680 or more, and down payment should be 20% down at least. And there might be other things that, person to person.
Is it more costly? Would you charge us more for investing?
Of course, because the investor thinks that that's a more risky investment. You would pay for your own mortgage, of course, but when you buy multiple, so there might be a problem. What if the tenant leaves and you have to pay the 2 mortgages? So we do take a look at 6 months of reserves should be there for the investment property in your bank or in your IRA or 401k. And of course, there's more fees. For example, 3 percentage points of fees will be charged up front for an investment property. So yeah, things like that.
You have to make your intention. Do you have to say this property will be, I will not be living in it, but it's still my first home. I intend on renting it out. Do I have to make that intention? Do I have to tell you guys?
Yeah, of course. You have to. It has to be clear. Whether are you, because they might audit, they might check. Are you living there really? Or not?
That's what I was asking. The rates.
Right. So the primary residence again is for yourself, for your family. The second home should be 50 miles or more away from your primary. That's a second home or vacation home. You live there only for a month or so during the year, but should not be rented. And the investment properties, it could be next door to you, but you can rent it for rental income. People use it for retirement income and stuff like that.
Does the monthly payment cover the home insurance and the tax for the government, or you just cover one part now?
Okay. So the question is the monthly payment, does it also have tax and insurance or not? So we give the option to the customer. So the customer can either pay their own taxes and insurance, or they can escrow with us, and we'll set up an escrow account, collect the monthly tax and insurance payment into it, and it accumulates, and then we pay it when the bill is due for the customer.
I see.
Both options are there.
I know some of the concerns that I've heard against Islamic banks is that the people are saying that since you're still dealing with Freddie Mac, that you guys take the interest to do that. Is that true in that case?
Okay.
And
right. So the question is, since guidance investor is Freddie Mac, so are we still charging interest? Are we dealing with interest somehow? So the answer is no, because the contract that is signed at the closing table is a co-ownership partnership program. It's a co-ownership.
What about between you and Freddie Mac?
Right. So when we make it into an investment and sell it to Freddie, again, the payments are the same. You are making the same monthly payment that we agreed upon. So those are being collected by our service provider, and the investors of Freddie Mac are getting those profit payments. So the structure of the contract really determines whether because there's no IOU or promissory note. So our dealing with Freddie Mac is also co-ownership. So the same terms and conditions.
So the only money that Freddie Mac makes is the same money profiting from the profit rate between them. So I'm paying the profit rate. And then I wanted to ask you something on that. Now the profit rate, basically whatever money Freddie Mac needs from you is coming straight from that profit rate. Is that what it is?
That's right. So
you're not paying additional money?
No. So that customer payment is now going to Freddie Mac, basically, to the investors of Freddie Mac. Because remember, what the Freddie Mac does is that they pool the mortgages together, and then they make it into a bond for the banks. For us, they pool our Islamic mortgages, and then they make a sukuk, which is like Islamic bond, and then they sell it to Middle Eastern banks or wherever Sharia compliant investors they can find. So end-to-end it remains Sharia compliant. It could be like 1400 years ago, a Muslim could be doing business with a non-Muslim. But as long as the contract is halal, it's okay to do. Even to work for a non-Muslim is okay, right? So as long as the contract terms are Sharia compliant.
You say as long as the contract between me and you is correct, it doesn't matter what you in the back end does.
Right.
Right.
So, but it has still to remain. We don't sign any IOU or promissory note with Freddie Mac.
But there's no interest.
Yeah, so there's no lending going on. So when there's no lending, there's no interest.
Now, is it correct to say that the profit rate is linked to the amount of because you were alluding to something like, since we are using the house, you're charging us a fee, right? So it's almost like rent. So the profit rate is the percentage of how much rent I gotta pay. Is it correct to say that?
Yes. So, for example, the question is that using the rate for the profit payment or the rent, the usage fee, does it make it haram? The answer is no, because you could, for example, you could go to the mall and there is a profit sale for 50% off. The sign percentage doesn't make it, or a rate doesn't make it halal or haram. It is the contract, the terms of the contract. Is it a partnership or a loan? I mean, that's the thing. Again, if you take a look at the rent that you are paying for your house, somebody who's just renting. So if you see 500 or rent on a $100,000 house, you could say it is 0.05 or 0.5 whatever percent rent.
It changes from different
right.
areas.
So the rate it doesn't make it.
And then finally, I'm sorry, as far as if you want to maybe wait till the end on this, but what about not investment but actual commercial?
Okay.
Business loan.
Okay. The question is, does guidance do commercial loans or commercial financing? The answer is no. We are not in the commercial business, we are only in residential. So you can have the primary residence, you can have the second home, you can have investment properties, investment homes. So only residential. And just one more point to add. Maximum financing for a single family house is $424,000 that we can fund. Yes, $424,000 we can fund. The rest of it you have to bring as down payment. And if it's a multi-unit house, then we can go above $520,000 on that house if it's a multi-unit.
Which are the Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae guidelines?
Yes.
The 424 and the financial.
That's right.
I have another question. For somebody that buys a house, or rents the house to you guys in partnership, what happens if they go through foreclosure?
Okay.
If they lose their job or something, how does the foreclosure process work with guidance?
Okay. So the question is, how does foreclosure process works with guidance? And there was a comment before about the guidelines. So we do follow the Freddie Mac guidelines. So, for example, some American realtors, they call me, what kind of a program are you doing? So the simple answer is, it's a conventional conforming guideline Freddie Mac product. So it does meet the requirements of the US laws and everything. Now, the other thing is that how does the foreclosure happen, right? So in the case of late payments by the customer, first of all, we will charge the late fee. We don't compound that fee. And we'll try to work with the customer. Maybe they can, a relative can buy out the house or become a co-signer or something, and the payments can be continued. We do work with the customers. But if nothing happens for, let's say, for 5 months, then of course the US laws of foreclosure have to take effect. And in that case, the difference between the bank loan and the guidance program is that in the case of the bank, they have a loan with you, right? So, for example, if the house was $100,000 and it's sold for $50,000, they will sell the house for $50,000, get the money back. They will still go for the rest of the $50,000 after you. They might sell other assets like the car or whatever assets you might have on the collateral. In the case of guidance, we will take that 50,000 loss. So profit and loss sharing is there, so that makes it Sharia compliant also. It's called the non-recourse clause, and you can read it in the contract.
I want to just give the brother one last question before because we still have another presentation to go through. الأخ عندك سؤال؟
شكرا.
جاوب سؤالك؟
No, he asked for the application, how we did the application.
خير إن شاء الله. يعني من ناحية التفاصيل الاستمارة وما استمارة موجودات مع الأخ فرقان من بعد المكالمة.
شكرا.
يلا.
So now if there are not any more questions, then we can go to the other presentation. Do you have one more?
The presentation is pretty useful. Would we be able to get a copy of it?
Okay. Most of the stuff that I showed you is already there on the website, on YouTube, and in other things. But if you have any specific question, just email it to me. I will maybe provide you some slides which will answer those questions. Okay. Now, the second presentation we have today is about the first-time home buyers. So people who are renting and just throwing their money away and not owning the properties for themselves. So how can guidance help them? So we would like to make them aware that first of all this halal program is available, and what are the reasons for anyone to buy, right? Buying a home can be a wise and long-term investment. Increased value of the home over time allows you to build equity. That is, for example, some people after years they come back and they ask for cash out. So your house is your bank. You take cash out from your house and we write a check to you up to 80% of the value of your house. So the house is appraised, maybe it has now gone up in value, you have more equity in the house, we can write that check to you, make a new contract for you on the ownership basis. So, and the third point is home ownership can come with tax benefits. So we do provide you the 1098 form at the end of the year and you can have tax deduction. Now the frequently asked question, how much can I afford? So again, when you call us, we'll run your credit and take a look at your income to expense ratio and we'll tell you, we'll give you a pre-approval letter. Brother Ben Bawazir is a mashallah excellent real estate agent. He will show you the houses based on that pre-approval letter that I provide. And then you come back to us and we take the full application. We collect the documentation, last 2 years tax returns, pay stubs, W2s, W2s, 1099, whatever, if you are self-employed. If you are self-employed, that usually is, has to be looked at because sometimes people take a lot of tax deductions, expenses. So we have to make sure your net income is the income that we are looking at in that for calculating the ratio. How important is your credit? We discussed that to the brother's question. Credit is important. So 620 at least for primary residence, 680 for investment loans. Why credit is so important? Of course, yes, how to improve my credit? Of course, credit limit level is low. That will build up your credit. How much do I need for an initial payment? Of course, 3% down in some cases, 5% down in some cases, or as much as you like. What about the closing cost? Closing cost is usually 3% to 7% of the price of the house, depending on the county taxes, the insurance rates and all those. If you are making a 5% down, there's something called PMI insurance with the banks, so that has to be charged. In our case, we have a Sharia compliant way of doing it, so we put it into the profit rate, so there's a different calculation, but the total monthly payment comes out to be the same. Total monthly payment comes out to be the same, about the same, How much financing can I get? Again, based on your ratio, your income, your credit. I can tell you whether you qualify for 424,000 maximum, or maybe in some cases it might be 100,000. Pre-approval versus conditional approval. So pre-approval is the first one. When you come to me first time, I'll give you the pre-approval letter and give that letter to your real estate agent, and he will show you the house. Conditional approval is after you submit a documentation. Then we provide you a conditional. So that letter is heavy. This is a real approval. Almost. What does my monthly payment include? Of course, your monthly payment will have your financing part, your acquisition and the usage fee, and then your tax and your insurance. Also, there's something called LLC fee, which is LLC fee is also something that people have a lot of questions about. It's only $18.75, but that is the fee that is making it halal. Because with that fee, what you are doing is you are establishing a co-ownership, real partnership. A solid partnership, a LLC company is set up for every house. So that is for the renewal for that one. And so how much I can afford, basically that's the customer's question. So credit history, available cash for the initial payment, existing debts, so your credit card debts or other debts have to be looked at, so that is helping us calculate your ratio. How important is your credit? Again, it does determine the initial payment, the financing amount, and the profit rate, as the brother asked the question. Actually, all these questions are again what I've just said. So we'll just skip those through. Now the steps. You connect with us, so one of our agents, myself included. I'm here in Michigan and Ohio. I'm working with real estate agents like Brother Ben and others in the 2 states. So I'll provide the pre-approval letter, and then they will show you the houses, and then you come back to us, and we do the homeowner insurance policy you have to purchase. Then we will do the appraisal through a third party, and then title insurance will be done to make sure nobody else has a claim on the property. It's clear and clean. and then we take you to the closing. The whole process takes about 45 to 60 days. In some cases, if you are already approved in the beginning, before you went for the contract, it could be done in 3 to 4 weeks also. So it all depends. And that's about it. Now there's a lot of other details. I mean, when you call me, we can go over those details. So that's our contact. My business cards are outside, and inshallah you can talk to me and call me. Yeah.
Is all the loan fees shared, or is it just to the customer?
Okay, so that's the closing cost, right? So the closing cost is about 3 to 7% of the price of the house. Usually, in some cases, it might be 2% also if the house is low priced or the county taxes are low. So what does it include? It includes $11.95 for guidance. So whether the house is $500,000 or $100,000, our fee is flat, $11.95, $1,195. What does it include? It includes the admin fee, the processing fee, the closing fee, you know. So that's our part of the fee. The rest is county taxes, recording fee, title insurance, those kinds of things.
That's what you would charge you.
Yeah, so the customer pays, of course, it's your house. Also, when the value goes up and you sell it, all of the profit from the sale goes to you. So you are, for practical purposes, you are the homeowner. We are only a financier partner making it halal for you to buy.
Would there be a different way for approval, you know, criteria other than using the credit score that requires riba way of building it? You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I know you did say you have to get a credit card, and I know you can pay it at the end of the month in full, so you don't incur any interest. But still, you're agreeing to that interest with that credit card. You're saying that if I'm late and I don't pay by the end of the month, then I'm willing to pay that interest.
Okay.
So it's not a halal way of building your credit. So, but it's the criteria that you guys choose to you know, get approved for that.
To get into the program or not?
Okay, yes, that's the other part of the question I missed, I'm sorry. So, yeah, that's not possible. I mean, so credit score is a necessary requirement. That's the first step we have to take a look. Without that, there's no further process.
Like when you come to conventional market, people with no credit card, I mean, like with no credit score at all, and says basically maybe either like they have new credit, which is like based on a 0 score, pretty much, right? If they don't have that, if they raise the down payment, like if I was going through Wells Fargo or Citibank or Fannie, you're able to put 20% down or 50%. Yeah, and you're able to get the mortgage because you've already had history, either a good job for at least 2 years, 2-month bank statement showing that the money that you turned down, the 20% a season, you should be able to get the loan. Is that the case with guidance? I just want to make it clear for anybody that's listening.
Right. So the question is like, if somebody has a good income, a huge down payment, will you consider it if they don't have good credit? Again, that's something of, okay, some other banks are doing it because they are investors themselves. So these are huge multi-billion-dollar banks. They have their own warehouse lending lines, you know. With us, we are a small company, right? So we funded initially from our own money, but then we have to find an investor, and Freddie Mac is that investor. And why we require the credit score is because their guidelines tell us to. And if we don't fulfill the guidelines, Freddie Mac will not purchase that contract with us, and we'll be stuck for 30 years with that contract, and that will be a big loss for us.
So, there may be a question that everyone may benefit from. At the very front, you list the 9 steps. 9 steps from how much can one afford to the actual conditional approval. And on average, what is the average lead time to go through that whole process?
Okay, so the process works this way. Basically, the customer comes to us. We have Facebook, and actually close to $1 million worth of advertising is done by Guidance every year. So we have a Facebook site, we have a website itself, so people come in and put in their names and information. It comes to us on the sales side, and then we give them a call, and then we ask for their credit, the social security number, and a little bit of other information, and then we issue the pre-approval letter. So that takes about 5 to 10 minutes. So that's done. So immediately the email goes to the real estate agent. They will take a look and they'll call the customer, show them the houses. Once they put a contract on the house, they will come back to us. At that time, I'll take the full application. That will take maybe about half an hour, 20 minutes to half an hour. And sometimes I encourage people to take the full application without even the purchase contract, so that our underwriting department, because that's the lead time, like 45 days sometimes, for the whole process to take place, 45 to 60 days. They will take quite a bit of time. So let's do it without the address. I call it TBD application, to be decided. We leave the purchase property address blank. We take the full application, collect your documents, approve you. You have the conditional approval in hand. By that time, you have found a house, worked over so many weeks. And then you come back and then we take it to closing within 2 or 3 weeks at that time. So that way we can reduce the lead time.
The conditional approval you just spoke about, so for how long, or what period of time is that valid?
Okay. So the question is how long is the validity of the conditional approval. So basically, if you have been approved today, so it will be approved for next 90 days, for 3 months. So you have 3 months to find the house. If you don't find the house still, when you come back, I'll only ask for your last pay stubs, and bank statement to make sure you have the down payment and the credit is okay, and you are having the same job. And then, but after 90 days, I will have to run your credit again at that point. That's the only downside. Okay, co-signers. Okay, co-signer, if the co-signer is living in the house with you, is a family member, then 620 credit score is fine.
What about parent that's not going to live?
Yeah, the one who's not living, then it becomes a co-mortgager, and co-mortgager, co-applicant who is living outside. So then we require 680 credit score. And also the down payment might be increased.
From the co-signer.
Right. I mean for the deal.
Not both of them don't need to have. Let's say one has no credit.
Yes.
The other
ones have. Yeah. So
I'm going to have 680. Right?
Okay. Actually, I will have to get back to you on that. But 680 is the minimum credit score for both the applicants. Both the applicants. As of my information from the deals I've done.
Then you would need a co-signer if that's the case.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'll remind me, put me an email, I'll reconfirm it for you. All right?
All right, thank you so very much. I think
one more question is asking about construction loan.
Okay, all right. So the question about construction loan. So we don't have the Istasna product. Istasna is a construction contract in Islamic finance. We don't do that. However, what you can do is you can go to the builder and you can put down like $5,000, $10,000 there and book a house. And once the house is complete, there's an occupancy certificate and inspection is okay, we will come in and do the funding at that time. And you can make up your 3% or 5% down payment completed at that time. When, for example, there are some customers with me who have taken the application, but the house will be completed 10 months from now, right? So in that case, they are already approved, everything's fine. Once the house will be completed, they will come and do the funding. So under construction only with the builders. So, yeah.
Also, what's the minimum loan guidance will provide? What's the lowest loan?
Okay, the minimum financing is $60,000. Minimum and maximum, as I said, 424. In multi-units above 520.
okay. We're over time, and I want to thank everyone for coming in today. If you have any questions, please take some brochures of Guidance Residential, which has Furqan Ahmed's information. He's always available to respond via email. So we appreciate everyone joining in, and I hope you guys took advantage and learned from it. Shukran jazeelan, wassalamu alaikum.